Hello, and welcome to Tales from a Twist, the show where we recap your childhood. My name is Joseph Lewis, and I'm joined by my co-host, Anthony Bull.
Hey, Joe. How's it going?
I'm fantastic, because you know what today is, Anthony?
I do.
The day when we recap Season 3 of Around the Twist. So, we've gone through and we've done all of Season 3, an episode for each episode, one episode of podcast per episode of TV show, and we've finally reached the end, and now we're going to talk a little bit about how we felt and what we thought Season 3 meant.
Absolutely. That's exactly why we're here. So, let's get cracking into it. How'd you feel about Season 3?
I don't know. I think initially, I thought it was fairly poor.
Poor?
Poor.
Poor?
Poor.
Is that like...
It's poor.
Poor. Okay, cool.
Poor. Yeah, that's how you pronounce it properly.
Alright, fair enough. It's poor.
I've got total confidence in that pronunciation.
Why not? Okay.
I thought, you know, this is not a great season. And then, one of the things we're going to do a bit later is talk about our fan theories. When I started to... well, not fan theories, our own episodes.
Yes.
Fan-created content, if you will.
Of course.
And I was starting to think about what themes from my childhood I'd use in the show. Mm-hmm. And initially I was like, oh, that's all covered by Season 1, blah, blah, blah. You know, like going through puberty, you know, wanting to go to the toilet by yourself in the middle of the night, stuff like that. And then I really started to think about the ones in Season 3. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of, you know, the heavy concepts that they handle.
Yeah.
And they do it quite a clever way in Season 3.
Yeah,
of course. Maybe not as well as Season 1 does, like with the... you know, preparing for childhood at age 10 with Bronson killing the child in the Cabbage Patch. You know, that's pretty heavy.
That's pretty,
you know,
strong, but, you know.
The whole thing, say, for example, Tears of Innocence.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty heavy.
It is.
You know, the subject matter you're talking about there.
It is. It's very, very, very deep.
And, you know, Viking Book of Love, the whole concept of that, as a child coming to terms with the fact that love is this mysterious concept that is very difficult to understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think of Season 3?
I thought Season 3 was not as good as Season 1, but it's better than Season 2.
Yeah.
I felt that way.
I don't know how I would rank them at this point. I know Season 1's definitely my favourite.
Yeah, of course.
Season 2, I'm not sure. And Season 3, I don't know. Maybe Season 3 would go above Season 2 at this point.
Yeah. I feel like at the start, I wasn't that big on Season 3. But I kind of like more of the stories now. They kind of make more... they're kind of better.
Yeah.
Overall, like the stories generally are stronger than the ones in Season 2. There's some good ones in Season 2, but mostly the Season 3 ones are better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Some of the ones in Season 3 that I didn't really like, but we'll get to those when we talk about them.
Yeah. So, do you want to go through one by one and talk about the episodes now, or would you like to do that within the context of your...
No, we'll talk about the episodes
story.
One by one. We'll go through that, because my story, it does involve those episodes, but... they're sort of touched on.
Okay, before we quickly go through these episodes, one of the things that we talked about during this season was the idea that everything that happens in Round the Twist, or at least in Season 3, and our new theory, was that everything is a kind of fictionalized and exaggerated version of real life seen through the lens of Bronson.
Yes.
So Bronson's going through some hard stuff, and as a child, you don't fully comprehend exactly what's happening. And you may interpret it as, you know, maybe even magical. And so, as we go through these episodes, we'll talk about how maybe they were seen by Bronson.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the first one we've got is Big Burp. And that was the first episode of Season 3 in which the woman impregnates Pete at a very young age.
Yep. Subverting gender roles.
Yeah. So, what do you think this was about, and how do you think the Bronson theory applies? So, clearly it was about, you know, pregnancy or childbirth.
Yeah.
Do you think it was straight up, you know, underage pregnancy? Well, or do you think it was something deeper than that with the switched gender and masculinity?
I'm not sure what it really symbolizes, the switched up gender and masculinity thing, but it could symbolize, like, I'm going on the theory that Pete is actually coming out as gay, right?
Okay.
Well, yeah, he's coming out as gay, right? And traditionally, like, even back in the early 2000s, that was more, you could see that as you're growing up with more effeminate ideas coming into his mind. These things that he was interested in that were not normal in Bronson's mind. This is not a boy. So the idea of he could fall pregnant makes sense, because maybe he's actually got some girl parts to him. But that still doesn't make sense to Bronson. So he pees on a tree. He sees him do that on a family picnic one day. And so he imagines that this tree makes him give birth. But in reality, it's more that he's just noticed the feminization and sort of the change in Pete's character.
Okay. Yeah, there is a point in that episode where the press are interviewing Pete as he's pregnant, and they're saying like, "Oh, who's the father?" And Pete says it's a girl, and they're surprised.
Yeah, changes a lot of things, and it's a changing decade for Bronson. He's confused because there's a lot of change in his life, so he doesn't know what's up, what's down.
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows, right? So what do you think? What did you think it symbolized?
Well, I think you're a little bit out there. Maybe it's just Bronson doesn't understand gender roles in society.
Yeah.
Like, what makes somebody do what? I don't think you're necessarily saying here that Pete's gay. I think it's saying that Bronson's trying to come to terms with the fact that this is how a male functions and this is how a female functions. And this is something that kind of comes up a couple of other times in the episodes. Traits that are associated to certain genders and why that is.
Yeah.
Like with the Vikings and the long hair and...
Yeah, of course.
Viking, the second one. And, like, that would seem weird to Bronson.
We talked about this throughout the season of the conflict between masculinity and femininity.
Yeah.
And how the males, particularly the Port Mirandian males, all appear to be very weak.
Yeah.
Like, at least the fathers do. Like, Harold's a lot weaker. Tony's definitely a wuss. Snapper's a wuss. But all the girls are a lot stronger. And you can contrast this with the Vikings, who are the epitome, I guess, as a facade of the epitome of what is hypermasculine, but they love getting their hair done. They love doing all these things that are traditionally female, feminine ideals. So it's really this perception of a man, big, tough, strong man, but on the inside, they're really a lot more deeper, weaker, and have like feminine qualities that they're repressing. Can only be released now in modern society because of the shampoo, conditioner, all that stuff.
And this is something that's important during, Bronson's a little bit before puberty. But this is like, he's around the time that he's starting to try and get a grip on these ideas of the masculine and the feminine. They're both important parts of reaching puberty, regardless of your gender.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's basically it, yeah.
The second episode of season 3 was the Viking Book of Love. And this, as we talked about, introduces the Vikings, the idea of the hypermasculine and the internal feminine.
Yeah.
But also, it talks about the idea of love.
Yeah.
And this is something that could potentially be confusing to a young Bronson looking it through his lens. Like, suddenly somebody just loves somebody else for no reason.
Well, that's the thing with children, the idea, when you have a divorce, that you can stop loving someone doesn't. It's complicated and hard to understand for them, and it's a common trait. I don't think I need to really explain it to anybody because I think anyone who's listening to this episode is old enough to understand that. But to a child, they need to explain that. So when they see the varying types of love, both teen love and the relationships of older people, which are two different types of relationships, the easiest explanation for a child is it's magic. It's magic, because that does make sense. Only a magic spell could possibly make my dad and my new mum stop loving each other. Only a magic spell could make Linda and Gribble fall in love. Like, they hate each other. What is up with... I don't understand. When in reality, it's just teenage love, Sometimes they have conflict in that weird way when you're in love with a teenager. And relationships, they strain and they grow and they decline.
And young love is also, often about... hatred and love are very close together when you're younger.
Yeah, it's like that whole thing where if a girl hits a boy, it means that she's actually interested in him or something when he's like a little kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of similar to that. But to Bronson, it still doesn't make much sense because he hasn't reached that age yet. Whereas his hormones start working and he gets it. But
he's about to in episode 3, which is the Whirling Dervish episode, which is everyone's favorite.
Yeah.
And, and this is the idea of starting to come to puberty, like your first erection.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. Honestly, I thought it was masturbation.
It's very clearly that.
But because of his age, it's very much an erection.
Yeah, he's tore a hole in his pants with his penis. Yeah, that's a thing that happens in the episode. Like,
I thought you were going to say it happens in real life. I'm like, Jesus Christ, Joe, really?
I have a big tree.
A big tree.
Dr. Blight wants to buy it.
Okay, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, mate. What the fuck? That's never happened to me. I can tell you that much.
You've never broken a pair of underwear?
No, never. I can say that comfortable. Well, I mean, not with my willy. I've never done that. But sure, I've broken them because they're terrible underwear, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. So he's growing up. and he's getting his first erection. That's what I thought it was
Yep.
as well. But it also fills him with... Weird thing is, it doesn't fill him with this weird shame that you might feel. Maybe it fills him with a sense of strength and pride. That's probably why he's so much better and stronger. Because he's coming into this age where he's growing up and becoming a bit more tougher. And he sees it as a sense of pride. It's not a sense of shame to him that an older boy might do it. Because it's like, oh, I know he's got an erection. He's standing out in front of public speaking or something. Oh, he's got a heart on.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's a shameful thing.
Well, you know... we keep talking about this idea of the masculine and the feminine.
Yeah.
Bronson suddenly becomes incredibly arrogant, right?
He does.
Around this swing race, and he's like the most masculine male in all of Port Noranda. And that's probably from his perspective.
Yeah.
With that raging testosterone, suddenly he's the biggest, baddest dude around.
Yeah.
You know, and that's part of that growing up.
This is also why I think the Viking Book of Love, at least for the older adults, can also still literally be Viagra in a sense. Well, I mean, think about it. Like they're of that age. Like at least Harold is, right? Where that
Harold's
could be an
not
issue.
That old.
He's under a lot of stress though.
Yeah.
As a how many businesses does he own? And he's the mayor of the town.
He's a large dude as well. Does
He's a
weight
large
affect
dude.
that?
I think it does. So the idea that he can't get it up,
Yep.
you know, it would affect his perception of himself. Which we see in a later episode we'll come to in a sec. And the only explanation for that, again, from Bronson's perspective is, it's got to be... This new resurgence of love must be magic. It's not a pill that allowed us to rekindle our love for one another.
Virility and masculinity is something that is linked a lot. Especially in, you know, these episodes. It's talking about virility being, you know, that idea of masculinity. And that's not always the case, right?
No, not always.
It doesn't have to be. The next episode is You Am I Am You, which kind of... my interpretation was, you know, this idea of age and masculinity again.
Yeah.
So we have Gribble going through his midlife crisis.
Yeah.
And we have Pete going through, you know, change in hormones.
Yeah. Like, Gribble might have actually been taking... I think for Gribble, he might have been taking Viagra, but he also could have been taking male supplements that increase his testosterone as well.
Okay.
That could be an explanation. Like, he's going through this midlife crisis where he's not as young as he used to be.
Yeah.
He realizes this now, and he tries to get back some of his youth, and that's why he's listening to this rock music, because he probably, as a young kid, he listened to rock music, and then he's trying to convince himself as an older person, this new rock music he's listening to is great. You know, he's not out of touch with the world, even though he totally is. And it's kind of scaring, and he goes off on midnight rendezvous as well.
Yeah.
Which, of course, puts a lot of strain on Matron's relationship. Like, from her perspective, is he having an affair? What's going on? You know? Whereas Pete's becoming more obsessed with more adult, mature things. He's even watching the stock market, which, again, I think is just him finding his character. And he's becoming an adult. It's like, I gotta become more of an adult. I gotta become more mature to get the chicks or to get the guys. Because, remember, he still probably isn't sure of who he is yet as a man. Like, he doesn't know if he likes girls or boys.
Okay.
Well, because he doesn't know if he does, so he's
You're
still
very
trying to go
fixated on that idea.
Well, my idea is that he's still questioning that. And because he's questioning that identity, he's also questioning other things. And he starts, like, adopting more of a serious thing. Oh, I care about the stocks, you know? I tried to read the newspaper when I was 14. Yeah. And I was like, this is shit. This is garbage. Yeah. And, okay, well, 26-year-old me thinks that the newspaper is garbage too, except for the AFR.
Well, it's a different, you know, newspapers aren't the thing that they were.
No, they're not.
You know, when we were that age. If we were our age now, when we were, I don't know, 10, 14, whatever, we probably would have been slightly more interested in what they had to say because, or maybe just the news on TV.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you have that different connection with the world. Yeah. Like now we have the internet. You don't kind of have that reliance upon news because news isn't really passed that way anymore. Yeah. It's more passed through word of mouth than it is, you know, direct to consumer, which is kind of interesting because it's almost full circle because that's the way that news would have been passed back in the old day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when everyone couldn't afford newspaper, they would just find out by somebody telling them. Yeah. And now everyone can afford news because you just have to type into Google, you know, the subject of your matter.
Well, like I find out
the news.
Like today, I find out news from social media and just like forums and stuff like if I find out about celebrity deaths on 4chan more than I found out anywhere else. I found out Alan Rickman died because a friend of ours posted something.
Yeah.
About Alan Rickman. I was like, what? Just David Bowie died. What? And then it turns out Hans Gruber's dead. I'm like, what?
Everyone's saying, oh, who's going to be the third? You know,
because it always comes in three, right? Yeah.
But Lemmy died the week before David Bowie and...
Who did?
Lemmy.
Who's that?
The lead guitarist of Motorhead. Or singer? I don't know. Lemmy. Yeah.
I don't think Motorhead is...
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal to the metal community, but it's not like... Is it Jimmy Page is the lead from Led Zeppelin?
Yeah.
That would probably be something that would get news. But like, it'd have to be the super popular bands.
Dead.
You know? Is he dead? I think...
I don't know.
If Jimmy Page is not dead, he's definitely on death's door, I'm guessing, from the amount of
I lose track of who's dead and who's not dead.
What's his name? Keith Richards from Red Hot...
Rolling Stones.
Rolling Stones. I keep saying those names.
We're going to get in a lot of trouble for getting all these people mixed up.
If Keith Richards died, that would be big news, because that's just the pop band everyone knows.
Angus Young
in Australia, would probably get...
that would be headlines.
That'd be headlines. Angus Young is dead. Yeah.
The next one we have is Truth Hits Everyone, which, aside from the magic mic, get it? The magic microphone. I didn't know what to pull here. What's going on in this episode? What are the major themes?
Well, look, it's just basically that Linda actually is discovering good qualities about herself. Right? This is just I think this is actually a filler episode, for starters.
Yeah.
She's actually a decent reporter.
Yeah.
And from Bronson's perspective, hey, how can you get someone to admit things that they wouldn't ordinarily admit? It's like, have you ever watched Enough Rope with Andrew Denton when it was on?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how he can get people to say things?
Yeah.
Or Louis Theroux? How does he get people to do that? Well, to a child, to us, it's like he's really brave in the questions that he asks. It's like, that's really bold to ask those questions. Like most of us would just be like, oh God, you're worried you're going to get your ass kicked by someone. But he's able to get these answers out of him because he's so good at being a journalist. But to a child, it's like, I don't understand. If anyone else asked these questions to Gribble or someone else, they wouldn't be able to get the answers out of them, but she's pretty good at it. Well, must be this microphone set that she found. Obviously, that's why. It can't be that she's got magic powers, obviously. Well, where'd they come from? Obviously, the camera crew they're using. Okay,
well, let's just skip through a few of these. Otherwise, we'll be here all day. So we got Neanderthal Beast. Obviously, that's about, hair getting places where you're not used to having hair.
And Pete probably like, oh, I'm shaving. But like, remember, he's 14, right?
Yeah.
Right. And when you shaved, you had what? You had like little tiny bum fluff above your mouth.
Yes.
That you could pretend was real facial hair, but it really wasn't.
How did you react when you first had hair on a place where you wouldn't normally have hair?
I don't know. I didn't really react. I already knew that stuff happened, so I don't know. Just
I was a bit. I can't
remember.
Startled when I had hair grow on something.
I was startled the other day when I found a grey hair in my beard.
In your beard?
Yeah.
You had a grey beard hair.
Yeah. I was like, wow, I must be old now. Shit. Crap.
Right. This is going to be overshare.
What? Yeah, okay, let's hear it. I want to hear it.
I had a grey pubic hair.
Talk about overshare.
I can cut that out if I need to.
You can if you want to. I don't think you need to, but sure, keep it in. Look, I don't remember that kind of stuff when I was a kid, but I remember it was a big deal, I guess. Was it a big deal? It was a big deal because it's like, oh, yeah, I've got my pubes. I'm a part of the man club now because I've got my pubic hair. And I imagine that's what happens with Pete, but like Bronson doesn't have it yet. Maybe that's why, because like they do like to go in the bathroom together, like
which
we know from
super weird.
It's super weird. So it's not unheard of to assume that they saw each other naked at points.
Yeah,
and he's like, "What the hell is that?"
Malibu. The episode where Pete tries to ride Big Blue. What's going on there?
Just being a teenager, isn't it? He's trying to get chicks.
Again, that, testosterone-driven hypermasculinity, taking risks.
He's still questioning his identity.
Experiences.
And he's doing what teenagers do, which is... There was a real honest moment when Tony talks to Pete and says, you're not throwing your life away for some stupid surf competition.
Yeah.
And that's a genuine thing that I know a lot of parents have probably talked to their kids about. To Bronson, it's like, oh, no, I know why he's doing that, because the test is important, obviously. Yeah. Why do you want to go pick up girls? He's looking cool and all. Oh, he must do it because, he's got to help his ghost get back to his homeland. That's the only explanation that makes sense to him. Why else would that not be the case? What else would he surf in this horrible conditions to try to get with girls? Why would he want to do that? Not that important.
Yeah. The episode after that was Brainless. The episode where Pete and Linda swap minds. They literally swap... No, wait. They don't swap brains, do they? They're just brains. They hop around and they're brainless.
Well, this one was like when parents fight Okay, when the parents are fighting each other, they're still having a bit of conflict in the relationship from Bronson's perspective. The children regress and become more like zombies. They hide their true emotions. They hide their what's going on in their lives from everyone else. And so, to a child, it's like, hey, why aren't they as active? Why aren't they as talking? Well, because there's conflict in the house. You don't want to argue. You don't want to wake the bear. Basically, Tony might be peaceful, but you still, when your dad's angry, when you're a kid, you were tiptoeing around. You didn't want to say anything to offset him because all of a sudden the rage that he had against whatever was pissing him off would just come at you. You'd be like, I'm just going to be quiet, not going to say much, just going to walk past.
It's really scary being a kid sometimes.
Yeah.
The next one was Toy Love.
Toy Love.
You know, the toy comes to life and Linda turns into like this rage machine.
Yeah. Well, that one, honestly, I think...
This is the one where Gribble is in love with Linda as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have that idea of young love that we were talking about before.
Maybe it's a part of Linda becoming more of a dominatrix self.
Okay, thank you, Stephen Walpole.
This fits into Walpole's theory, but I also feel that... because I feel like she is still a strong, independent woman, and that might be maybe the way Gribble acts. Because you know that whole idea of kids. So not the kids. You know the idea of like women... It might be cliche, but it's... I can change the bad boy. I can change him. He's bad, or he's gross, but I can change him. Maybe that's kind of what she thought with Gribble, and she's going in a relationship with Gribble, and Gribble's pissing him off, right? And Gribble's also being very needy to her. He's not being this wild child that he used to be. He's being incredibly needy, incredibly suck up, and if she wanted to date a pussy, she doesn't need to date a pussy. She's already got one. Isn't that the saying? All right. So she needs this. She feels really annoyed at things, and that's her anger coming out, a lot stronger. One thing as well is I think that Bronson is playing actual literal dolls with Linda.
Yeah.
Right? Because even if you're mad, you can still play with your younger child, because as an adult or an older person, even if you've got these adult problems, these issues, if you're hanging out with a kid who doesn't know shit, for just a moment, you can lose yourself in just this world where there is no fucking problems whatsoever. Those taxes you got to pay to the government because you didn't do your accounting right, no, that can melt away for a little bit because you're hanging out with your nephew or niece or your daughter or your little brother, and you're just playing with them for a little bit, because that's what matters at that moment. And Bronson pretty much is still fixated on this whole love thing because it's happening around him. So this doll, as a kid, what is it? Kids, little boys always picture some sort of war or horror thing. That's not uncommon to happen. So she thinks that the doll's possessed. He's like, I'm an evil doll. And so Linda remedies the situation by finding a partner for the doll because she's in love. It's actually the reverse of the story. So instead of Bronson solving the problem, it's Bronson acting out the issues that he has. I'm a horrible person. There's evil in the world, blah, blah, blah. Only love can solve the problem.
It's also, I think, kind of touching on an idea that I like to think about a lot, and it's escape is there where it is to be had.
Yeah.
So it's like, people talk about a lot about drug addictions and alcohol addictions and stuff, but pretty much everyone has some form of addiction, like some form of escape. A lot of people these days are addicted to games.
Yeah.
Addicted to watching television.
Or at least they use it as escapism. I think we should call it like addictive.
I think a lot of people have addictions.
I think they might have addictions.
And I think that's one of the underlying problems of the 21st century Western society.
Yeah.
Everyone has some form of addiction.
I think so. I think there can be addictions. And I agree with you that at some levels. But I think we have to put a caveat here that not all addictions are the same.
Of course they're not.
Yeah,
but they're similar.
They're very similar. They have their own feelings. Like,
addiction is addiction. It's still damaging. Doesn't matter if it's alcohol or if it's, playing with dolls. If you're addicted to something to the point where it's damaging your normal life, that's a problem.
The thing is, though, sometimes addictions, though, become a part of your normal life. And what is to determine what is normal? The idea is it's like there's this socially constructed notion that if it interferes with your relationship with other people, then it must be detrimental. But why is that so? Why is that socially ascribed value more important than what you want in your life?
Yeah, that's true.
So there's that idea as well.
Yeah, but interfacing with people might be an addiction as well.
It could be, or it could just be something that's put on you. Like, I don't really like dealing with a lot of people or going to social events. Like, not like social events, like forced social events. Those ones. And you're just like,
I know.
Fuck, can I go? Oh, no, there's a cake.
It's just like a family party or something.
Yeah, I gotta wait for the cake. We gotta wait for the cake, don't we? Why does it take so long for the cake to come?
You know, I've talked about this in the past, but I hate going to weddings.
Yeah, kind of me too. I don't mind. I love seeing that people get married. Good work. I love seeing that. Yeah, wonderful, right? But
it just destroys your whole day.
It takes over your
I
entire
think you're
day.
pretty cool, but it comes a point where you're just there because of the societal rules.
There's a scale, I say, depending on the proximity and closeness. So like close friend or something, you're very happy. You'll go there and you'll have fun. A close family member, brother or something, sure, maybe I'll go there. Okay, I'm referencing you because you're like, what did you say to your brother?
I told him that if Iron Maiden was on the same day as his wedding, I wasn't going. Lucky for him, it's not.
Oh, there you go. That's fantastic if you're listening.
He just doesn't listen.
You never know. You never know who's listening.
The next episode was Tears of Innocence. And we've talked about that a lot, so I don't want to get too in deep, but it's basically the idea of a child or a young adult being betrayed by an older person.
Yeah.
The Ice Cream Cometh, that idea of the first job and this magical idea of, it's a job, you're away from your family. You've got this new network. You've got this new idea of responsibility. And there's a lot of things that come in turn with this responsibility and this privilege of having a job and making money.
Yeah. And the weird thing is you've got the real one, which is that Linda is working for Gribble.
Yes.
Which is a bit weird. And then she gets let go.
Yeah.
All right. Now that's why, because Gribble is not a great employer. She's had conflict with the Gribbles as well. I imagine nepotism exists in that area anyway. So she's probably just been like, she got sick of the shit. She's a strong person, and this is post relationships too. This is when the relationship's already been broken. Right? They've already broken up, and they're forced to work together.
Yeah.
So she might have actually had a job prior to that, even.
Yeah.
That might have been how they got together. But now she's been let go. But in Bronson's mind, it's like, it's because it's some natural thing. It's unnatural. Because, fucking environment, it's all natural ice cream.
Yeah.
What's wrong? Gribble's a scumbag. He's a cheater. He's a blah, blah. That's about as natural as a cardboard box. No, sorry, as natural as a piece of styrofoam.
Yeah.
Well, then he must be making it out of styrofoam or some chemicals. And all of a sudden, he invents this all-natural Giuseppe guy just drives into town and gets a job because, as you saw, when they're walking out of the ice cream parlor, she nearly gets hit by Giuseppe. How could no one see that?
Yeah.
So it's an invention to keep the story going in his mind, to keep the stability in their mind.
Yeah. The episode after that was Walls Could Talk. And, I think, for me, this is the idea of one of the major problems as a young adult. And, they say one of the major problems with being depressive in mental illness is that one of your biggest fears is that nobody can hear you. And that's a fear that everyone shares, whether you're depressed or a young adult or a teenager or a child or whatever. But this idea that people can't hear what you're saying. And Bronson gets into this state of mind where his family aren't listening to him. He doesn't have any friends. His teacher, who used to be his mother, abandons him. He has literally no one he can talk to. And so he starts talking to the walls.
Yeah, he starts talking to the furniture. He starts inventing language for them. He starts communicating with them and he already has underlying mental health conditions that are now being triggered, basically. Prior to this, he's never really had much. Maybe there was some pre-existing things in the earlier seasons, but this is the crisis point.
Well, he doesn't necessarily have to.
To be honest, you could even say that there's hereditary proof of psychosis in their family if you look at Linda, who I honestly believe suffered from some sort of psychotic episode back in Granddad's Gifts when she swore, the way she acted was very similar to how you might see someone who's going in a psychotic episode about the fox with the lemons.
Yeah.
You watch that episode, and it does borrow a lot heavily.
That is the creepiest part of that episode, isn't it?
The fox has no eyes and it needs the lemons. Yeah, I've seen that before. It's like, that's it's got shades of psychosis in there. So you could say there's a family history there. And so Bronson, I think, really he has a psychotic break this episode. That's why the walls could talk to him. That's why everything could talk to him, because it all comes crashing down in this episode.
The last episode, The Big Rock, I don't know, what did you get from this episode? The adults are taken away, the children run free.
Yeah.
The idea of freedom, adulthood.
Yeah.
Responsibility, living on your own, that kind of thing. Not a lot there. I didn't think it was the greatest episode, which is why we've asked our fans on the Chicken Twisties page, and we did it ourselves, to come up with a new episode for Season 3. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily a replacement for this episode, but, maybe a supplement. And we've got two of them here from the Chicken Twisties page, which you can join on Facebook, and we'll give you details of how to join that at the end of our podcast. But the first one we have comes from listener Stephen Walpole, who, as we all know, has a fixation on all things BDSM and Linda related. And his idea for an episode says, Linda looks into the mirror and sees herself as an empowered dominatrix doing toilet on Mr. Gribble's face. You know, that's a good shot, Mr. Walpole, but, you know...
It's not really an episode.
Not really an episode. It's more of a moment.
Yeah, it's more like a...
we do appreciate...
Yeah. Maybe it could go into the episode of the ice cream one, where she's like so mad at Gribble that she just pictures herself like in leather, I guess, with a riding crop, and Mr. Gribble just lying on the floor, just pissing on his face. Wow. We do make fun of Walpole a little bit. It's all in jest, but there are elements of female empowerment. Maybe not to a sexual fetishization level. Yeah.
But there are elements of those ideas in Round the Twist.
Yeah.
And we've talked a little bit about them, the idea of the masculine and the feminine, and the combination of the two and how they relate to each other.
Absolutely.
Another episode was written in and suggested to us by Regan Pontillo, the guy who we named Pontillo's Pontifications after, because he writes in every time we do a Round the Twist episode and gives us some stuff to talk about. He does a great job, and today is no different, because he says, perhaps an episode where as a subplot, Snapper meets a woman so he can finally stop pursuing Faye, and maybe a new teacher comes to town.
Yeah.
That would be a good input into the story. And he goes on and he says, I always thought it would be cool if the Twist family cast, either from series 1 or 2, visited the lighthouse as different characters.
That'd be cool.
Okay. Maybe a family that gets lost and takes the wrong road or something and drop hints and saying stuff like, it's like we were almost drawn to this place, or it feels so familiar here. The current Twist family could tell them their experiences, and the other family could say, strange things used to happen to our family too, but not anymore. Yeah. And then maybe drop some puns from previous episodes. For example, Pete could say, instead of, there's no skeletons in my closet, say, there's no skeletons in my dunny.
Oh, yeah.
So the idea here, it kind of implies that, the cast change that we see is maybe an entirely different family,
yeah.
And they're having similar experiences, but they're their own family, and they're going to this guise of the Twist family when they're at the lighthouse, because that's, maybe something bad happened to the first Twist family. Maybe that original lighthouse did get destroyed, and then every incarnation of the Twist family since is just this ghost lighthouse projecting, the essence of those original Twists onto these new families.
What if you had it like this, right? Maybe you didn't have the original Tony, because you wouldn't have been able to, unfortunately. But you could have Tasman West, or is it Tamsin? Tamsin West and the original Gribble together.
Yeah.
Right, forecasting and shadowing, but it's different characters, obviously. And the original Fiona and the original Pete. Okay. Basically, they've come together in the town. Who knows? Maybe it's for a wedding for the original Bronson, who you don't see. Right, that's possible, because, how old would they be? They're about 15 years...
it doesn't matter. If we're just making this up, we can just say it when it was...
Sure, it's 15 years later, so, they're around about 30 years old. It's fair to believe that they would be married at that time. Bronson, a little bit younger. He's 25, 26. Fair to believe he could end up getting married at that age.
Okay.
So, they're in town, right? Or they're staying in town because of a wedding that's happening near there. And they basically... they go see this old lighthouse that they've heard about. Because if you're going to go to that town, where are you going to go? You're probably going to go to that lighthouse because it looks cool. And they meet each other and they talk.
Cool.
It would be awesome. I actually originally thought that it might have been that Tamsin marries Snapper, but I thought that would just be weird.
That would be a little bit weird.
A bit too weird, but I like it.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, especially when you go around it.
One more thing I wanted to drop in before we get into your episode that you created was that there was only one ghost in this whole season.
Yeah.
Kind of an all-time low for Round the Twist.
It is weird. Usually they have a lot more ghosts. Maybe they were maybe if we go with our original idea about how it's a conduit for ghosts, maybe it's running low on ghosts. Maybe, So, I don't know, the magical power of the ghost machine thing that's inside the lighthouse. Or it could have been Nell. The new Nell is no longer able to bring in the ghosts that are needed, or they're not attracted to this new Nell. So you only get a residual effect on the lighthouse.
there was a distinct lack of Nell in this season. We talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go too far into it, but yes, there was a
and
lot
Nell
less
was
Nell.
there when Moondoggy, because she talked about Moondoggy.
Yeah.
In the lighthouse, so maybe she does bring on the ghosts.
Maybe.
Possible.
Do you want to tell us a little about your episode that you created?
Yes.
Now, last week when we recorded, Anthony thought that we were recording this episode, but it actually missed one, so he did the finale episode. But he showed me, at that point, his 6-page diatribe.
Yeah, about that, yeah.
You know, this enormous novel that he'd written of his idea of the episode. And I hadn't even started my idea for the season recap yet, and I was freaked out. And, you know, I have to tell you, Anthony, this was a lot of undue pressure here.
Off your game. Put you off your game, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
So, without further ado, this is the I guess the serious one. There's another one we had. We thought of it today. We put up a picture of it on Chicken Twisties a couple of weeks ago. There's a little diagram of some man, I don't know, climbing up a crab and a man are racing up a penis.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. Let's do this one.
We'll talk about this one. Okay, so this episode takes place instead of the Big Rock. Right?
Okay.
And it takes place just after the If Walls Could Talk. Okay, so this idea for the episode is that the entire season 3 is actually a session of therapy.
Okay.
Right? The therapist speaks to Tony. It starts with the therapist speaking to Tony and showing him some of the drawings that Bronson had been doing during the session.
Yeah.
Now, when kids draw, but they also tell stories whilst they're drawing.
Yeah.
You know, and so the first one is there's a picture of, you know, Pete, and he's near a tree, he's pregnant, and the therapist is like, "Is that your mummy? No. Is it Linda? No. Is it you? No. Well, who is it?" And it's like, I don't know, Pete, right? Because there's a picture of a taller man, and then there's a picture of a shorter man. So who else could it be? It must be Pete.
Yeah.
Because the shorter man is pregnant. And there's a couple more like that, you know. Linda's new boyfriend, and the magic of being in love, because you got a picture of a stick figure of Linda, love heart, little man with the Vikings and stuff. You know, it's about the changing romance that is entered into Linda's life.
What you're saying is Bronson's drawn all these pictures of what we just talked about, each episode through the lens of Bronson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll just run through like quickly what we've done is, like, you know, number 10, everyone just hates Bronson. This is the big one, okay? This is a culmination. Is everyone just hates Bronson. They're against Bronson. It might just be the external release of built up rage and tension between each other. So they all hate Bronson. They all call him useless. And this causes Bronson who has no friends, no connection. He's lost his mother. His family hates him. Everyone hates him. He goes up to his room and he literally has a psychotic episode.
Okay.
Because he has, these trigger this psychotic episode to happen, and he starts hearing the walls talking. And he goes down to his father and he tells him this. And then his father finally realizes, oh shit, I've been so focused on my relationship that I've completely neglected my child, who is having a psychotic episode.
Okay.
Takes him to therapy. Alright, so throughout the season, Faye and Tony have been fighting about having another child.
Okay.
Right? This causes their breakup, because Faye doesn't really want a child. But Tony is okay with having another child. You know, he wants to have a child with Faye, but Faye doesn't really want to.
Yeah.
She's not big on the mother role. She doesn't really want that. And that causes them to have this on and again, off again relationship. And Snapper is on the rebound for this. And so basically, Bronson thinks it's the Viking Book of Love in Action. So that's the setting for that area. Now, what happens is after Tony and Bronson are finished with the therapist, Tony takes Bronson to see a movie at the cinema because he's just trying to, you know, do something nice for his kid, you know, trying to make him feel normal. The thing is, those high intensity images in the cinema trigger him again. They give him, they send him off. And he runs away. Okay, he thinks these things are coming. You know,
what does he think is coming?
Well, he's just had a psychotic episode, and you shouldn't be showing a movie.
What movie is it?
Oh, any
Planet
movie.
of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes. It's a high intensity action movie.
Okay.
Lots of jump cuts, lots of things. That's gonna fuck him up. So he runs away. He totally runs away. So Tony chases after B, alright, who's running away scared, and basically, okay, so his hallucinations, which were okay, are now terrifying to him, and he's running and hiding. Because aside from the lighthouse, right, this and his imagination, there was no other form of control or order.
How is the lighthouse a form of control?
It's constant.
Okay.
It stood the test of time for 100 years.
Yeah.
Okay. it has remained a constant. And that is something that, unlike anything else in his life right now, it doesn't change.
We've talked about the idea of the lighthouse being a phallic object before.
Yeah.
You know, is there anything to the fact that this lighthouse is phallic and now you're saying it's also an unchanging thing? You know, is this one of the things that sets Bronson off? Where his body's always been the same,
but now it's different.
Now it's changing.
Yeah. I haven't put that in there, but it could be, right? But anyway, so now his imagination is gone and the lighthouse is the only thing that remains. And it's still scary. This led to a different ending, but I'm going to change the ending because I think that was cliche. Anyway, Tony loses B and is frantically searching through the town for him. And he comes across Faye and Snapper and Harold. And unlike the bad people they are, he literally tells them, I'm looking for Bronson. He's really scared. Faye obviously cares about this child. He still cares about this person.
Yeah.
And she goes off looking for him as well. Tony goes back to the back home.
Okay.
To go tell the kids that they can't find Bronson. He's gone. He's gone running away.
Yeah.
Okay. They look everywhere in the lighthouse for him, and they go off on a search party. Harold's organized this search party throughout the entire town because he's the mayor. He can do that. And
what has he got to gain? Normally, he's got something to gain. What's he promoting?
He's promoting
family values.
Harold is just promoting good. He's just being a good person for a change.
Is he offering discounts on torches or something?
You know what? He's offering a chance for his re-election.
Ah.
You know, the Harold Gribble re-election search for Bronson campaign. Whatever. So, Faye knows that Faye knows that Bronson loves the lighthouse because that's the biggest thing, is that Bronson loves the lighthouse. Tony is so so scared and out of his mind that he can't think straight and he's looking everywhere for him. Yeah. So is his family. Faye drives to the lighthouse and looks in Bronson's room, basically. And as a mother does, but no parents, no one other than a mother would notice, is that there's this picture missing from Bronson's drawer. Okay. Those little dust shadows. Yep. She realizes that was a picture of his former mother.
Oh, okay.
And she looks through the lighthouse and can't find him. But this is where the original ending changes, Okay. So she then remembers back to her last birthday. What happened the last birthday, Joe?
Her last birthday?
Yeah.
I don't remember. They went to Turtle Island?
Yeah, they went to the Turtle Island because there was a mother giving birth to the turtles.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
So she goes to that location because she knows that's the only other place where a mother has abandoned her children.
Yeah.
Okay? And he sees Bronson sitting on the beach. He's crying and he's holding a picture of his mother because he's looking to see if that mother returns to this island. The same way it did last year.
That's good, man.
Yeah, right? So basically they have a heart-to-heart talk about this. And Faye realizes that, she really does like Tony. And this is and she loves Bronson. She loves Linda, but she especially loves Bronson. Right? She really cares. And this mother thing comes out of her and realizes maybe it's not a bad thing to have a child. Maybe it's not a bad thing to have a baby. Right? I can do this. I'm confident in myself. I was just insecure. And she, helps Bronson and takes him back to the lighthouse. And they're back at the lighthouse and she calls up Harold to tell, look, we found him. And Harold, obviously with a cell phone, because he's a rich bloody billionaire. He's one of the few people in the town who will have a cell phone. He tells Tony, and Tony races home. Yeah. Right? They get back together, they resolve their issues because, she's now ready to be a mother and she's sorry. And Tony regains his family. Snapper rocks up, of course.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to lose. Okay. Hang on, I wrote something.
Is Faye still under... Oh, she's not under the Book of Love Spells.
It doesn't exist in the story, right?
Okay, yeah.
So, Snapper rocks up and says, are you sure you want to do this? Oh, come on. Do you want to be with this family? And she says that she really cares about Bronson. And Snapper makes a remark about why would you want to be with this family? That child doesn't even have good grades. Basically just saying, he doesn't even have good grades. Do you want to be with someone smart? And Tony, who's been an entire giant pussy this entire season, finally balls up, hearing that, his son's being insulted, who's just been lost, and he punches Snapper right in the face, like Falcon punches him right in the face.
Falcon punch, yeah.
Breaks his nose, right?
Take that,
That turns on Faye, because, finally some masculinity shown, right? And, they end up having a child together, and that's season 4.
Wow.
That's my story.
That's good, man. That's some good writing there.
The original one was that she found him in the lighthouse because that was the only constant, but I'm like, it would be hard to believe that.
No, that Turtle Island stuff.
The Turtle Island really works, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that was good.
Follow that.
Yeah. I like the Turtle Island stuff with the mother and the masculinity threads coming to her head and changing body stuff. Yeah, it's good. Good. Anything you want to add to that?
I don't know. Maybe like some sort of like ghost comes along at the end of the episode and it's just like, Because just to be like, I don't know, whatever, there's a ghost there. Just a random ghost.
Maybe right at the end of the episode, a ghost or something.
Because it makes people go, hang on, I thought this was supposed to be like all in Bronson's head. Or is it?
Yeah, and then it brings us back to the supernatural world around the twist.
Mm-hmm.
So this one episode is like a moment of clarity where you can see what's actually happening, and then we go back into that world for the following season. Yeah. Because obviously if you don't have...
and his imagination's back too, potentially even.
If you don't have the supernatural stuff happening in the background, what is around the twist? It's just a family drama.
Of course.
Yeah, so you ready for mine?
I am.
Mine's not quite as long as yours. Mine's a little bit snappier, but my episode is called Bronson's Travels.
Yeah.
Okay. So, to set it up a little bit, Tony has been depressed for most of this season, right?
Yeah.
All that stuff with Faye that you talked about in yours. This is also my season finale swap in. So we replace, what was it called? The Big Rock?
Big Rock.
Bronson's Travels replaces the Big Rock. Tony's been upset this whole season. He's really depressed, okay? And the only thing that's kind of helping him through it is his connection with Bronson.
Yeah.
Okay? Because, numerous times they're just like, you and me, Bronson.
We're in this together.
It's you and me. We're in it together.
Yeah.
Okay? Tony's got to the point where he's very unstable.
Yeah.
Now, this episode takes place in the Round the Twist universe, unlike your episode did. But mine is still informed by the same theory that yours is. Mm-hmm. That weird stuff, horrible things are happening in the actual universe that Bronson can't deal with, and he provides this shield of a fictional narrative.
Yeah.
So there's two kind of plots happening in my episode, what's actually happening in real life and what's happening in Bronson's mind.
Yeah.
I'll just talk about it from the point of view of what you would see on the screen, and then maybe we can talk about what that means. So Tony takes Bronson on a trip to an island, okay? Mm-hmm. In the ocean together. Just the two of them, inverted commas. They're going on this special trip where they can be away from everyone else forever. Okay, yes. They're going away to a special place that, and they're not coming back. Okay, so you kind of get what I'm getting at there. They're not coming back.
They're going to kill themselves.
Yes.
Jeez.
Okay, so Tony's taking Bronson on this special trip, and they accidentally fall into the water.
Yeah.
Okay, and Bronson starts to drown.
Yeah.
He gets separated from his dad in the waves, and he starts swimming towards an island. Okay? And when he gets to this island, it's a bit weird. Things are a bit different here. It's kind of like real life, except it's different. There's people here that are portrayed by actors from this season of Round the Twist, but they're in different roles. Yeah. Kind of like that Gumleaf War episode in season 1.
Yeah.
Where they're playing, some of the characters are playing different characters. Actors are playing different characters. My apologies. So the first island that Bronson gets to is this gender swap island. So, there's all these characters that we know. So we've got Mr. Gribble, we've got Matron, and they're all playing gender reversals.
Yeah.
So Mr. Gribble is Mrs. Gribble.
Yeah.
And Matron is Patron.
That's cool.
Yeah. So on this island, the only way to escape is for Bronson to, I couldn't work out how to put this in there, but he's got to find his masculinity somehow, right?
Yeah.
So he's got to find, this is his puberty. This is one of the issues that he has to deal with on his journey through, what's basically the underworld. He's dealing with the issues in his head as he's dying.
Yeah.
So the first one is, finding his masculinity. Once he gets off this island, he gets on a boat, which, can be his masculinity, whatever, doesn't matter. Goes to the next island, which is Food Island.
Yeah.
Okay? And this is the island where he has to deal with the fact that food is a distraction to him in his real life from his real issues.
He's eating to mask his...
Yeah, food and personal hygiene
are,
his masks of forgetting what's going on.
Yeah.
So he has to, get past this food in order to see what's really happening.
Mm.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then once he gets off this island, he goes to this final island, which is pretty much exactly the same as his real life, except it's on a really small island. And everyone's here.
Yeah.
All the people he knows. Mr. Gribble's here, Mrs. Gribble's here. They're all playing themselves. But he has to kill one of them to get off the island. Whoever has caused him his problems, he has to kill, right?
Yeah.
Who do you think he has to kill?
His dad.
No. Why do you think he has to kill his dad?
I don't know.
Because you think his dad has forced all these problems upon him?
Maybe, yeah.
You're wrong. Who else could it be?
Nell.
Nell? Why would it be Nell?
Because you always bet on Nell.
You always bet on Nell? Any other reasons?
Snapper.
It's not Nell. Why would you think it's Snapper?
It's Faye, isn't it?
I wanted you to say that.
Yeah.
Because Faye is, this,
evil woman.
Seeming cause splitting apart his family. And
Yeah.
Bronson puts a lot of blame on her, even before they break up. But it's not Faye.
Oh.
Who do you think it is?
Himself.
Sort of. The answer is, it's himself in the form of Anthony. Because for this whole season, Anthony doesn't actually exist. This one guy, this scientist guy, who's kind of the anti-Bronson. He's confident. He's smart. He has good personal hygiene.
Yeah.
And he's real. Some of the other characters interacted with Anthony, but I think most of the time he only shows up when Bronson's there. So this entire season, Anthony is this anti-Bronson that is this cause of Bronson's, this projection of Bronson's low self-esteem.
Yeah.
And Bronson has to kill Anthony to claim his self-esteem and become the person that he needs to be. And so by cancelling all of these issues, 1, his puberty issues with gender, 2, his issues with food and poor hygiene, and 3, his issues of low self-esteem, these help him to realise who he is and finally move on from this point in his life.
So basically,
and it's that point.
Basically, he's not putting a gun to his head. He's putting a gun to our head.
To Tyler Durden's head.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he wakes up on the shore.
Yeah.
And is fine. And his dad's
Is there a mountain on this island?
Which island?
Where they've woken up.
Where they eventually wake up. Why would there be an island? He wakes up in real life.
Okay. I was going to say that you could make it that he wakes up on this area, but there's a big mountain there, and they have to climb this mountain for some reason. But why would they have to climb the mountain, Joe?
Why would they climb the mountain, Anthony?
Because it's purgatory.
Okay. No, he wakes up in real life, and his dad's there, and then we go back into season 4. But Bronson has, Tony's got his own issues to work out, clearly, but Bronson has finally worked out his own issues.
Yeah.
What do you think?
That's all right. Yeah, it's cool.
It's called Bronson's Travels.
Bronson's Travels.
Do you get the reference?
Gulliver's Travels?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. That was good.
Cool,
man.
Do you want to go into your other episode?
Yes.
This is the final one.
This is the final one, guys. This is the random sketch
and
we
so,
did.
as we mentioned earlier, you can find a draft of this Anthony's idea, which he has crudely drawn in some kind of pen on his fridge. And you can find a picture of that in Chicken Twisties, and we'll repost that when this episode comes out again.
Snapper gets the Viking Book of Love. This is all magic. This is real. The Viking Book of Love is real. Snapper gets the Viking Book of Love.
Where does this episode take place?
It takes place in...
It's a finale episode.
It's a finale episode. Okay. Now, so what happens is he writes his book of poems and he gets Faye to fall in love with him.
Okay.
And Faye lives with him now. But then he writes his book of poems and he sells them. And it causes the Viking Book of Love poems to not work because obviously, as we said before in earlier episodes, if he got the poems from the Viking Book of Love, would they transfer the magic? And I'm going with the idea that yes, each of these are their own version of the Viking Book of Love. And everybody who bought it reads it to their significant other to make them fall in love. But as you know, reading too many leads to curses happening. The second Faye snaps out of it, Snapper realizes, oh no, those books I wrote, they're actually mini Viking books of love.
Okay.
So he's got he being the wicked evil person he is, puts her in chains and keeps her in a dungeon in his house because he's a bad person. So the kids, Bronson, Pete, and Linda, they have to spend the episode trying to break into Snapper's house, beat Snapper up, right? And then rescue Faye from the dungeon.
Which they should have done as soon as he enslaved Faye.
Absolutely. But what's happening now? Well, here's what's happening in the town is that everyone else is being turned into curses. There's these curses going around. So one person, they get it read to them and they turn into a velociraptor or a praying mantis and they try to eat the other. Actually, we're going to go with praying mantis because praying mantises eat their mates and black widows and stuff. And so basically they try, this lady's trying to eat the man because, I'm hungry. I've got to eat because I've got to be pregnant or something. Okay. That's what they do. Also, I've heard. Gribbles get they're cursed and they get into this big fight together, right? But it's not some regular fight like a domestic fight. Like literally, Gribble, he's not one to not spare any expense. They organize this giant boxing match between Matron and Harold, and you might think that's not fair. Well, please, have you seen Matron? Come on, Matron could probably take Harold in a fight. I reckon my money is on Matron. Okay, the next one. Alright, and it goes through the town, and Snorri's son, he comes back randomly through that bloody rock thing, and he realizes, what have I done? What have I done? So he goes to the local ammunition store, right? And tries to purchase a firearm, but they won't let him. So he basically just robs the store, right? And, kills himself. Because, he's so sad about it.
How does he kill himself, Anthony? In your picture that you've drawn?
In my picture, he puts a gun to his head and he shoots himself and brain splatters all over the other side. Which is why Phil thought that there was a crab climbing the lighthouse, because in close proximity, there's a ticking clock in this episode that makes it even more difficult. Tony is very sad and suicidal and is contemplating jumping off the lighthouse. So the kids need to rescue Faye before he jumps. Okay. And that's the episode.
Yeah, a little bit convoluted.
Yeah.
Maybe not entirely children friendly.
Well, when has that ever stopped us?
When has that stopped around the twist?
Exactly.
To be honest.
Exactly.
The stuff they got away with, What are they showing kids these days?
Oh.
Could be anything.
Yeah, could be, eh? Oh, tell you what.
Any other ideas or speculations you want to bring up before we close out season 3?
I think we brought it all up.
Wrapped
it like a little present or something.
A little present?
I don't know.
Okay. And to finish up the episode, we're just going to go through some listener feedback. Some stuff that people have sent in to us, talking about stuff in the last couple of weeks. And we'll talk about that now and then say how you can contact us. The first of which is from a guy called Nick Slade. And this is in reference to something that Anthony posted on our Test from the Twists Facebook page, which details the fact that Nell, her house next to the lighthouse, is being sold. So you can buy it.
You can if you want to.
And one of the guys posted... He said, this is Nick Slade, he said, I used to rent that place out for holidays regularly back in 99 to 01. Wish I could afford it now. Me too.
Me too,
Nick. And Anthony said, did strange things really happen when you were there at this house? And Nick says, yeah, the ghost from Granddad's Gifts showed back up and scared away the ghost of Tom just as he was about to give me the blueprints to his cloner.
That's what you do, man. That's what you do.
What would you do if you had the blueprints to the cloner? Would you make the cloner? Would you sell the blueprints? Would you destroy the blueprints?
Probably destroy them.
Yeah.
It's far too dangerous,
Yeah, well, we know that the cloner doesn't work out too well. But I would sell them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sell them to an idiot.
Sell them to Tesla or something. Who cares?
Tesla might figure out how to make it
get
work.
Get some money. And Nick says, seriously though, love your podcasts on the episodes and how you point out all these plot holes I previously overlooked. It's a crack up. So thank you, Nick. Thanks for listening.
Cheers. Pour one out for my homies.
I hope you're listening to this to hear us thank you. But Anthony did thank him on the page as well.
Yep.
We've got a note from Stephen Walpole on this about the selling of Nell's house. And he says, would make a nice BDSM dungeon.
Of course he would.
I wonder if he's got a generator.
Probably.
And he just clicks a button on a generator and it comes up with something random to say relating to BDSM.
Maybe.
Random BDSM comment generator.
Well, you never know. He could be a computer programmer.
He could be indeed. Somebody named Alex Hadderall says, look out for foxes in the cupboard.
You gotta be careful of them foxes.
Yeah, except they're in the lighthouse, though.
Yeah, but still, foxes in the cupboard.
They could be in any...
it's just generally good advice. Look out for foxes in your cupboard, because if there are foxes in your cupboard, if they are dead, you gotta ask, how'd they get there? And if they're alive, you should probably close the door and get animal control.
Are foxes dangerous?
They're dangerous enough that... They're what? They're kind of...
They're quite small.
Yeah, but would you want to handle a fucking fox?
Well, I'm not going to pick it up.
Well, exactly. So you just make sure that you don't, open... If the door's open, just close it and get animal control and say, hey, there's a fox in my cupboard. And they'll say, what?
I walk around home with no shoes on. Do you wear shoes inside your house?
No, that's just insane.
I would be afraid of my toes being bitten, but I wouldn't be afraid of, say, my calf. Well, maybe they could do a lot of damage, like rip out your tendons or something.
I don't know what it could do. It just hurt,
It would hurt.
Yeah.
Anthony posted a photo he posted back in season 1 of Pete kissing the dummy, and from the twist.
Yep,
the
absolutely.
Twist tip in the episode.
A good tip for ghosts.
Yeah, back in the old days.
Back in the old times, back when the microphone was poor.
And somebody posted, holy crap, this is Nick JS. Holy crap, that show is off the handle. Yes, it is.
It is off the handle. That is true.
Rowan J. Ardwick posted and said, I saw Tamsin West perform as the Wicked Witch in a production of Wizard of Oz in 1991 in Adelaide. She was brilliant. I didn't know that she went on to do any acting. But I guess it makes sense.
Makes sense because she's a talented actor and good singer.
Yeah. I think that might be all our feedback. Anything else you wanted to bring up?
No, not really.
Cool. Well, why don't you tell us how our listeners can contact us and have their stuff read out on the show? Or just say
hello.
Yeah.
Is it me you're looking for?
Sometimes.
First off, yes. Well, I can see it in your eyes.
Okay.
And I can see it in your smile.
Yeah.
Go. Anyway, so you can find us on iTunes, obviously. Subscribe there. That's what everyone wants you to do because it's a cool thing to do. Give us a rating and a review if you haven't already. If you like our show, give us a rating and a review. It'd be great. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Tales from the Twists. You can find us on Twitter at TFT Twists. You can check out our website for all our episodes at talesfromtwist.wordpress.com. And you can join Chicken Twisties on Facebook. There are links to all of these things in the episode itself. So just check it out on the on either our website or whatever podcast catcher you have. They'll be in the episode. So yeah, you can join Chicken Twisties, where you do your philosophies and your pontifications, behind the scenes things, and you can even see that picture I was talking about, which is it's pretty cool. I guess it shows my artistic talent. Very, very artistic, very avant-garde.
I say the word talent. It's pretty loose.
Pretty loose talent, but still, you can see that loose talent if you join that. And, if you want to send us a message, you can direct message us through our Facebook page, Tales from the Twist, or you can send us an email through talesfromthetwist@gmail.com.
How often do you check that? Our email?
Every so often.
Yeah?
Haven't got anything yet.
Okay. Well, the easiest way to contact us is through our Facebook page or on Chicken Twisties, which we both reply to as fast as we can. I'd like to thank everybody for listening. This is 3 seasons.
3 seasons.
We're going to be doing our season filler. Well, season break filler, I guess, the next few weeks. Doing some other shows. Doing a couple of different things that we'd like to do to mix it up a little bit during the break. We'd like to not go straight into the next season. And this is going to be our last season as well.
Yeah.
So, kind of draw it out as much as we can before we have to move on to something else.
Absolutely.
Just for those who are interested, we are intending on carrying on with Captain Planet even after we finish Round Twist.
Yeah.
And we'll probably find another show or another couple of shows to fill the void. So we're going to be trying out a couple of those shows the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But also, if you have a show that you badly want us to do, let us know. Now is the time to let us know pretty far in the future so we can, make steps towards making that happen.
Absolutely.
Check it out. See if it's would fit our format. Anything like that.
Yep. Absolutely.
Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, it's just thanks for listening. Thanks for being a fan and all that stuff. You're great. We love you in a platonic way. Especially
all the people that don't write in, because I know there's the vast majority of you don't write in, and we love the guys that write in, but we also like you guys that don't write in, and I think that's underappreciated sometimes.
Exactly. It's like it's cool when you find out hey, wow, this guy listens to our stuff. I had no idea. Cool.
Yeah. I know the best way to help us, if you are interested, the best way to help us is to rate us on iTunes.
Yeah.
And give us a review.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That is the best thing. And then join Chicken Twisties as well. So, you can communicate us and we can communicate with you, because the way that Facebook works makes it difficult for us to do that on the main page.
If you join Chicken Twisties, I'll send you a packet of Twisties.
He will not.
I will.
No, he's lying.
First... How much does it cost? It won't cost that much. First 10 people to join
after this episode,
right? It gets a packet.
What about
Chicken
the people
Twisties?
that already joined? They're missing out on a packet of Twisties.
Well, I don't know. If they want a packet of Twisties, they can get a packet of Twisties. I'll order it for them.
Okay. If you hear this, you need to message Tales from the Twists. Say, I want my packet of Twisties. And send us a P.O. box or an address or something that we can send Twisties to.
We'll send you a packet of Twisties. I have no idea if they're going to come in and be okay. They're going to go in a post box. But
we reserve rights to stop after 10, okay?
Yeah.
We can send more after 10, but if 300 of you send in, we're going to stop that, because that's probably what happens with these things.
I don't think Chicken Twisties is all that popular, but sure.
If you want a packet of Chicken Twisties for free, let us know and we will try and arrange that. This may not happen.
It'll happen.
Okay, the onus is on you for this then.
That's fine.
You know, okay.
I'll find some twisties, you know.
Thank you very much for listening to season 3
Yeah.
of Tales from the Twists. We'll see you in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
My name's Joe Lewis.
And I'm Anthony Bull.
Have a great week. Stay twisty.